All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in. I have no idea how long this is going to be, but I'm going to guess it's going to be about an hour. This is probably going to be a complete waste of my time because I don't know who's going to be interested in this. I don't know. But here we go. We're going to do a deep dive into one of my favorite albums of all time. And I'm going to tell a lot of stories and have a lot to say and a lot to show. And I don't expect this to connect with many people, but I'm going to do it anyway. I will say this has the distinction of being maybe the heaviest, most aggressive kind of music that I like. I don't really go for like super hard rock, super aggressive, Slayer, and it's not for me. You know, I need melody. But this is probably as aggressive as I like in terms of music. Energy of it, I guess. We'll say that. So, here's the album I'm going to talk to you about today. It is called The Keeper of the Seven Keys, Part 2 by Helloween. This is what we're going to talk about today. And I'm going to take you kind of on my journey through the album. I actually have notes. I made notes for this that I want to share because there's things I don't want to miss. So, also, a lot of times on these things, I kind of go through the album in sequence. I'm not going to do that with this one. I'm going to kind of just take you through my experience with it. And then I got stories, and then like, it's just going to be long, and I'm going to geek out about it. So, there you go. All right, so this right here, this has the distinction of being the second CD I ever owned. The first one I ever bought was Slip of the Tongue by Whitesnake, and the second CD I ever owned was this one. All these records around me, this is the second CD I ever had. And I'll tell you how this came to be. So, Helloween had one pretty big hit. I saw the video for this song one night when I was 14, 15. And, you know, I used to watch MTV all the time. Like, remember, this is before the internet. This is before anything. Like, if I wanted music, MTV is what it was. And so they played this song. And I loved the song. I heard it one time, like, that was awesome. And the name of the band was Helloween. Kind of a silly name, but I certainly remembered it. Who's going to forget that? So Helloween. So I'm going to play you their big hit, the gateway song. And it's just a straight up rock and roll song. I mean, it's aggressive, but it could be a Scorpions song. It could be Whitesnake. It's just hard rock. It's called I Want Out. You might know this song, but I really doubt it. But it's called I Want Out. And, you know, if you're a teenage boy, this is the kind of songs I love. I mean, it's just, I remembered it. It was hooky as can be. The lyrics are just about, you know, being a nonconformist. And I want out. I want to live my life my own way. And, you know, I'm a kid. I'm like, yeah, I want out. I don't want to do this. Honestly, the lyrics are pretty, I mean, for a metal band, pretty deep. Or at least some thought went into it. You know, it wasn't song like, let's party, let's get drunk. Oh, look at you. You know, you're so pretty. It wasn't that. I want to share this with you a little bit. From our lives beginning on, we are pushed in little forms. No one asks us how we'd like to be. In school, they teach us what to think, but everyone says different things, and they're all convinced that they're the ones to see. So they keep talking and they never stop. At a certain point, you give it up. The only thing there is left to say is this: I want out to live my life alone. I want out, leave me be. I want out to do things on my own, to live my life and to be free. So it's just what it's about. They're a German power metal band. This was their signature song. People tell me A and B. They tell me how I have to see things that I have seen already clear. So they push me from side to side. They push me from black to white. They push me until there's nothing more to hear. So it's just about, you know, the cookie cutter expectations that are put on society. And I don't want to do that. I want to be my own person. And, you know, I'm a little kid. So I'm like, yes, sounds good to me. So here you go. Here's I Want Out. This was their big hit. This is the song I heard one night on MTV. I went, that's great. And again, there was no internet. There was no looking that up and hearing it again. I can't hear this song again until I go buy the record. There's no access to it. It was one of the most maddening things, but also part of the thrill of like the hunt of going and finding that record. So here's a song I heard. This is just a straight up heavy metal kind of anthem, I guess. Here we go. And pay attention to the harmony guitars when it starts. All right, here we go. It's nothing too aggressive yet. It's not super assertive. It's just kind of a metal song. Simple chords.
We are pushing little forms. No one asks us how we like to be. School like teachers, what's a thing? But everyone says different things. But they all convinced that they're the ones to see.
It was a typical 80s video. It was fun. You know, it's a metal song. It's a all right, so I won't make it sit through the whole thing, but then we're gonna like another verse, another chorus. But it's just you can kind of see how it hooked me. Like it got in my head like I want out. Like it's awesome. So I want to demonstrate the songcraft. The songcraft and the musicianship of this band is incredible, especially given their age. I'm gonna play the rest of the song, then I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about the band before we move forward. But here I'm gonna skip to like after the second chorus where the bridge comes in. And again, most rock and roll bands don't write bridges because they don't really know song structure, but it's awesome. Here we go. This is the end of the second chorus, right? Bridge. By the And then if you listen to back, they had a way of making their background vocals sound like a million people. Something about the tone of the background singers makes it sound like a nation of people yelling. So I love that. So you got the million ways, and then at the very end when he goes, "Wanna be alone," the background vocals are going, "Alone, alone, alone, alone." Check it out. This solo is very melodic. It's very tasty. Like it's not just blurring. It's like it's very notey. It's just that part is. But now harmonies like. Because these guys can play, and it's a very anthemic solo. It's awesome. All right, breakdown. Goodness. Listen how long he holds this note. Key change. They're doing that, they're answering that guitar part back again now. And it's just one of these, you know? So that's I Went Out by Halloween. That was a song I heard. I'm like, that's awesome. I gotta hear that again right now. And of course, I can't because there was no way to do it. So that stuck in my head for a long time. I'm like, if I ever see that record, I gotta get it. Again, no internet. I can't order it. I can't anything. I just like remember when you're in the record store, Jason, keep your eye out for that. Because that's how it used to be. I would go to the record store and just walk up and down and see what they had, make a decision. That's their single. That's like their hook song. That's the one that's the easiest to digest. That just sounds like any other rock band kind of, right? Like nothing out of place, just a guitar rock band, a guitar rock song. I bought that, again, that was my second CD. So I didn't intend to buy it. I had my CD player. I went to Best Buy. I had enough money to buy one record, and I walked up and down the aisle just looking at whatever there was, and I got to make a decision. You know, I can only buy one. Can you imagine? I have no albums, and I got to pick one. And this is before you could hear what was on it. Like, you just know the single or you know the artist, but you don't know what you're going to get, really. That's how it was for most of my life. So I was walking around, and I went, Helloween. That band that does I Want Out. Is I Want Out on here? I Want Out is on here. So I was like, oh my God. I hadn't heard this song in like a year, 6 months, whatever. I heard it one time on MTV, and then didn't get to hear it again until I got this. So, and then I looked at the cover, you know, and I was big into sword and sorcery, big into dragons and wizards. I was like, oh my God, The Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2? What is that? And if you stare at this artwork, I mean, look, there's like faces in the water, and this was calling to me. Look at the back. There's like oh, this is awesome. We got to get this. I got to get this. So this was the second CD I ever bought. I went home and I played that song. I was like, oh, this is great. All right, let's listen to the whole record. I want to listen to the whole record, you know, because that's what we do. Yeah. All right. So before we go any further, Helloween, they're a German power metal band. They're like the grandfathers of power metal. They're one of the first power metal bands ever. This record is like one of the blueprints for power metal. What is power metal? It is aggressive, assertive music, but it's more melodic rather than kind of bluesy and more. You know what? I'll tell you what. I'm gonna explain it musically. Hold on. I'm gonna show you. Hang on. All right. So, it's somewhat difficult to explain the difference between melodic rock and like blues rock, but it's about the notes that are being used. So, melodic rock is like Journey and Bon Jovi, like the stuff that has the big anthemic choruses and it's very sing-alongable and it's kind of a little fluffy. And then blues rock is more riffy, more like Led Zeppelin. Walk This Way, Aerosmith, is not melodic. It's more of a blues thing. But there's like no real big choruses on it. I mean, walk this way, talk this way. It's not really that, but it's about the guitars and the riffs. There's a lot of songs to do that. It's more about kind of the blues scale and more about riffing than it is melody and hooks. And melodic rock is more soaring. So like, you know, here I go again on my own. Like that's more melodic. Everybody can sing it. Helloween is like one of the fathers of power metal. Power metal is metal music, but with a melodic rock musical structure. So they're very anthemic, big choruses, big melodies, big hooks. It's not just that's why, like Iron Maiden is more kind of blues based. It's more about riffs and kind of wailing. But Helloween, you're going to hear, is about soaring choruses and melodies and things that just stick in your head, catchy stuff. And it's all dressed up in this very high energy kind of music. And it's mostly lyrics about very like positivity, kind of more fantasy oriented stuff and stuff about like kind of self-identity and conformity and stuff like that. So that's kind of a rough explanation of what power metal is, because you're about to hear some power metal. I know I've already talked a lot. I knew this was going to be long, but this is what it is. I'm prepping you like I wish somebody would have prepped me. So now we're going to move on to having played the first song on this record. The first song on the album is called Eagle Fly Free. You know, and that's just what, again, kind of like the last song, Eagle Fly Free, let people see, just make it your own way. And it's just, again, it's the imagery and it's about being yourself. This is just how the record starts. So keep this in mind that I'd only heard I Want Out, and I just figured that the rest of this album's going to be like that. I had never heard this kind of music before. Are you ready? there's a whole introduction. I'm just gonna play through it, but we'll speed through the introduction because it's like a minute intro called Invitation, and it just has like an eagle cry, and then it kind of leads its way into the album opener, which is great. By the way, this band, this is how old everybody was, all right? This band who wrote all this up and performed it all and did it for real. The oldest person in the band was 25. One of the lead guitar players is 25. The other guitar player is 24. The drummer and the bass player were 22. And the lead singer was 20 when they wrote and recorded this album. And the singer and the two guitar players all wrote songs independently, and they made this. So this has been done by kids who can play like this. The dedication and talent that takes, and then to take it, and they have people that are, I'm just going to play it, but these are kids made this record and wrote this record. And this is their third album. This is Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2. Here's Part 1. Oh my God. Here we go. Here's how the record started. Hear the choir? There's the chimes, like the bells. I'm like, all right, I'm in. All right, yeah. 15-year-old Jason, like, all right. Oh God. All right. So here's the pre-chorus. Chorus. It's crazy. So that's how it goes. Now I want to point out how the melody is. It's just Eagle fly free, let people see. Like you could do this song. You could record this song. I was almost going to do it. I was almost going to figure out the chords and play it like on guitar, real like pretty, to show that it's actually a good song. It doesn't have to be done that way. But I don't want to pull the song apart. I don't know what the key changes are. I don't want to know. I want the magic to exist, so I'm not going to do that. But it's a very soaring, catchy kind of a chorus, and the chord changes are great. And just so, again, just to point out that they're like trying to say something is people live in big confusion. They don't like their constitutions. Every day they draw conclusions, and they're still prepared for war. Hey, we think so supersonic, and we make our bombs atomic, or the better, quite neutronic, but the poor don't see a dime. Nowadays, the air's polluted, ancient people persecuted. That's what mankind contributed to create a better time. So this is a 24-year-old kid who wrote this song. It's just, everyone is on full display. They open up the record and go, everybody do what you can do. It's so tasty. It's done so well. So I'm going to, again, I'll skip to the second chorus, but then I'm just going to let it play. I love this. I'm going to geek out, and I'll watch this myself in 10 years and be like, that was awesome, because no one else is probably going to watch this, but I don't care. This is awesome. There you go. It's very epic. It's just... Alright, here's the solos, alright? Like, they can play, but they're serving it with melody. Hear the bass? Now this. You know, it's a riff in its own. It's something you remember. They're not just blurring, they're doing melodies. Here's the bass. Again. So it's two lead guitar players. The lead guitar players take turns. That was more flashy. Alright, drummer's turn. You hear the bass right there? Kiss 22! And I'm a kid. I'm digging it. Listen, hear the trumpet? There's a trumpet right here. Oh, there's a trumpet. So the trumpet there during that part that just stands out. So now it's gone through all this. Now we're coming to the end, and listen to how they build this ending, how they build this moment. It's awesome the way that they structure the chords and repeat it just to have a payoff. Here's the trumpets again. Ready? All right, here's the ending. Now that would be the ending, but they're gonna do it again. All right. Different melodies. Not there yet. Oh God, it just takes forever to build that part, but it's awesome. It's so good. And you're a kid. I'm like, together we fly, forever we fly, someday. And then as soon as it lands, there's a guitar behind it that picks up the melody and is playing the melody of the chorus. So it's so melodic. There's no need to shred. There's no need to go crazy musically. Just serve the song. Listen to the guitar that picks the melody back up to the end. Ready? 3, 4. Big finish. You hear the choir, and everything is just... It took me a little bit of getting used to. When I first heard the song, I had the record, I'm like, this is not going to be for me. But, oh God, I love it so much. It's so big. So now I'm gonna tell you this real quick before we move on. So this record came out in '88. I got it in '89 or '90, and they had the first one. They had the Keepers at McKee's Part 1, which I remember buying this because I finally found a record store that had it, because I looked for this everywhere after I had this. Again, pre-internet. So I saw this, I was like, oh my God, there's a part. Like I knew there was one, but I never heard anything off it, because how could you? And it's just like, anyway. So I'm a kid in Missouri. This is a German power metal band, and they made a couple more records, and I got all those. They're the hole right here, by the way. This hole right there, that's Halloween. That's why there's nothing there right now. A couple years later, Halloween, they slowly broke up. After the second record, one of the two guitar players and one of the primary songwriters left and formed Gamma Ray. So the guy that wrote I Want Out and like a couple of their hits, he left the band after the third record, after they put this 1-2 punch, and all of a sudden they were world famous, and the guy left. So the band started to kind of, they never were this good again. The next record was all right, but it just kind of started to lose steam. And by 4 or 5 years later, there was only 2 people left from these 2 records, a guitar player and a bass player. They had a new singer. It's just what happens. And that's it. They were over. Halloween was over. At least the band that made these records that moved me. But then several years ago, they got back together with 4 of the 5, all the people that were alive still on those 2 records, plus their singer for the past 20 years. And I think there were 7 or 8 of them. And they went on tour, and they did the Pumpkins United tour worldwide. And I was like, they're getting back together with all the people from those 2 records, and they toured the world. They did 7, maybe 8. I think they did 7 shows in America. And I'm like, I am going. I don't care where it is. I am going. So one of my favorite memories of my entire life, I flew up to Missouri, and me and my brother drove to Chicago. This is the line outside for the Halloween concert. We just got here. So, yeah. Wow. I can't explain what it's like exactly. I don't know if you've ever been to a show before where there's people in this room that understand something that you don't. Like, you all like music of some, you got like music, you like movies. There's got to be something you've connected with that you think nobody else in the world knows. Like, you never heard these songs. Nobody I know in life knows who on earth Halloween is. They don't know. It's just very underground, very obscure, especially for this side of the planet. But when we went to this show, the people that are there are people like me, people that came from hundreds of miles, not just people from Chicago, like real fans had to like swarm. It was I think maybe one of only 2 shows in the Midwest, in the middle of the country. And everybody, at shows like that, I've been in a few shows like that, but that one might have been my favorite shows of all time, because you're in a room with all these people from all over, and we're all so happy. We all immediately accept one another. Like, you love Halloween enough to be here. That's amazing. So everybody is just, they're super cool concerts when it's bands like that, where it's a real small, like a niche, like a small amount of fans. Like there's camaraderie. You're immediately friends, everybody. And this is especially awesome because Halloween is almost primarily male fans. Like, not only, but 90% of the audience was guys, and we came from everywhere, and we're just so happy, and we know every word to every song because it's just part of our growth. It's awesome. It's one of the best concert experiences I ever had. And I went with my brother, who loves this stuff also. And one of the best moments I ever had at a concert was Eagle Fly Free, because they did that whole building thing at the end. And when the singer does that O after it pays off, like this part right here. Right here it comes. Right here. Just that. When we went and saw them, that part came and the singer turns to the audience and it's just an O. All it is an O. But everybody was like, oh, everybody did it. It was one of the most, it was so loud in the room. Just go, this is amazing. And it was one of my favorite things ever. I think I started to cry. I think it was just like, I'm watching Halloween play Eagles Fly Free, and it's them. And the energy was amazing. So it was really one of the best concert moments I've ever had. Since I'm talking about the concert, one more thing happened there. The drummer died when he was 30. He died like 95, 96, something like that. And they did a little tribute video to him, like in the middle of the show. They did like a 3-minute tribute. And his name was Ingo, something I can't pronounce. But they showed this tribute video, and everybody watched. And then when it was over, this crowd of people said, Ingo, 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 Ingo. And I was sitting there going, there's this group of guys on the other side of the planet from where this kid was born, 25 years after he's gone. And we're all chanting his name because of the music that brought us all here. And it was awesome. It was amazing. I was like, this is so cool. This guy's remembered a quarter of a century later by all these silly metal fans in this little tiny club that are just like chanting this guy's name because he did this drum. It was awesome. It was a great moment. And it brought everyone together at that show, and everyone's your friend. It's hard to explain unless you've been in a thing like that. It's awesome. It's also funny if you watch the footage from the club I saw them in Chicago, and then you see some of the footage of other venues they played on the other side of the world where people still like this kind of music. Anyway, that's what I want to say about that song. That song is one of my favorite songs ever. And it's just, I'm a kid, eagle fly free, do it your own way, you know. It's awesome. All right, let's move on to the rest. I won't ramble this much about the rest of the songs now, I promise. It's just to get you into the band, then get you into the sound, then give you a little background about the band. So now we'll just kind of move forward. I just want you to hear a couple other things. Here's a song called, so now we're not going to do one that's so aggressive now. It's called We Got the Right. The singer wrote this. It's just one of those, I guess, I'm starting with all the songs that are about fighting the power, I guess, but just to show you some other sides of them.
Don't turn your head
By the way, the singer's vibrato is
back.
in time with the music almost always. Like, listen.
Don't close your eyes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. He is right.
Wait for your fall.
I don't know if you can hear that, but
If you believe that you know it, this time you've got anything to win. If you believe that you know that I say you lose again. In this time, there's nothing to get for you. You get what we do what you want. Come and try a prisoner in your mind. You're in this of this time.
I also want to say, I understand if this guy's voice is not for you. I can get it. I can understand if it rubs you the wrong way. But it's an exceptional instrument he's got. But I get it if you don't really dig it. And then, like, the next lines, you better believe all you do has a sense, and it's not for nothing. You better believe all the troubles you have will play you someday. It's just, why don't you help yourself and do the best? Put all the bombs back up there, build his ass. You know, it's just about, again, you know, be yourself, be strong.
You better believe what you do as it says. It's not what I'm saying. You better believe and trust me. When things are taken away. Why don't you hold yourself and do the best? All of the best for the thing that you say. Why don't you stand up and say it? Just show the people the better days. It's the fight.
So here's the chorus.
How can you see? We got the right.
Now it's more like an anthem again. You know, it's not aggressive. It's not hard. It's just, we're looking in the future with no need to hide. There's the vocals, right? solo, again, very nice and simple. It's not a bunch of blur. I can't believe the restraint of these kids. Again. Harmony guitars. I just gotta say, the restraint that is shown by the solos, like, especially since they're so young, musicians always want to show everything they can do. They want to show, look at how fast I can play, look how talented I am, they always want to do that. And that these are kids, that they're all under 25, and they don't just go, they actually like put the melodies in the song and serve and help the song be melodic and catchy. I'm so impressed. I mean, there's people that have been doing this their whole lives that don't understand that you just play something that serves your song, not something that just goes, oh, look how good that person is, because they certainly can do it. The talent they have as musicians is crazy, and then the restraint in recording and not just trying to lay everything out there, not trying to play every note they can, is phenomenal for a band of any type, of any age. Hear the choir? I love that. I love this line. Great line. So that's kind of it. I just play the end. You get the point. It's the closest thing the record has to a ballad. But I just wanted to show they have another side without going all crazy, because the rest of the record is kind of, well, a lot of it is. But again, here's the end. They end it real big. I know I talk about the choir a lot, but I love the choir because those voices just adds just this scope to the sound that makes it feel like otherworldly. Just huge. It's awesome. All right. All right. So let's go. Now I'm gonna touch on a couple other songs. The next one is called "Save Us," and again, most of these songs are pretty assertive. They're pretty aggressive. So this is called "Save Us." This is just about. It's just mythology. It's just the end of the world kind of thing. But it's still. I'm just gonna play it. This is not a test. This is pretty aggressive. Probably the most aggressive song on here. Sounds like so many people right here. It just sounds like 100,000 people. It's awesome. All right, listen to this right here.
We believe that the phenomena of nature expression of creative intelligence. We express our belief that all forms of matter are distinct from spirit, and thus all men are children of God.
What? It's just insane. It's not something that normal 22, 24-year-old kids are writing. And then it comes out of that, it goes into a bridge. It's real short, but it's so, again, it's so melodic. This little bit right here, this tiny little bit, is very melodic.
All men are children of God.
Alright, now we're going to solo. Okay, take a break, but not just... Alright, so let's go to the last chorus here. Can you hear the octave below that voice? From the years I met. Alright, now at the end, they're going to double kick now. Because, we're building. And again, remember, like, all this is dressed up in this album cover. Like, I'm looking at this being like, it's like Lord of the Rings, it's like it's fantasy. It just, I'm a teenage boy and I'm loving all of it. I just want to show you a little bit of a song called Rise and Fall. I just want to show you a little bit of the sensibility, like the musicality of this. It's not just kids playing as loud and as fast as they can and just crapping out any lyrics that they can come up with. Like, there's thought put into this. There's real time put into the structure of the solos and the notes. It's just not, it's too rare. It shouldn't be this rare. And so many bands stood on their shoulders and carried this kind of thing forward. Like, there was a lot of Halloween copycats, but none of them were as good for me. So I'm going to show you this little bit of a song called Rise and Fall. And the melody of it is again, almost pop. This little bit of the melody here before it gets to the double kick part. 1, 2, 3. I guess, again, it's almost a pop song. If you just play the chords. This part right here, it's gonna be 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I guess. But now we got this. This is a bass. 22-year-old kid playing bass. And I just want to share this one little thing at the end, these little answering background vocal parts that are just, again, just adds more color and flavor and something that people just don't do. And it's the older I get and the more I look back at how this record was made and who it was made by and when it was made, it's more impressive that all the musical layers to this is insane for people that are so young. But yeah, it's just little stuff like that, but it's only the last chorus, but it's just another place to do more musically, and it's It's super cool. All right, we'll move on from that. We're going to do the March of Time. This is... I love this song so much. So, the March of Time. This song, like Eagle Fly Free, is epic and huge, and the lyrics kind of moved me and scared the crap out of me when I was a kid, because it's basically just about the March of Time. It's about, again, doing the best you can with the time you have, and that we can't stop it. And me and my friend Mike at the time, we pointed to this song because I got my buddy Mike into this also, and he was talking about how people were talking about how metal is bad for you and how it's like it's gonna give you it's a bad influence and give you just put thoughts in your head that are evil. And we always talked about the song because the line is we long for more eternity and maybe there's another life. This one is short no matter how you try. Life is too short to cry, long enough to try. Don't waste your given time to make things worse. It's very positive. We always pointed to the March of Time as like, this song is telling us to move our asses and do something with ourselves. And actually on Halloween's other record, they had their Keep It 7 Keys Part 1, there was a song called I'm Alive that's just about, it's so great to be alive. I'm a king, can't you see my crown? I'm alive right now. And a little time, we got a little time. It's the lyrics, honestly, of power metal are normally very uplifting and very kind of fantastical. So, and also at this time, I was heavy into the piano. This is when I was just starting to finally fall in love with the piano. So the fact that this song has piano in it, that's all I needed. But this song is huge and epic, and here it is, the March of Time. I'm going to probably just listen to the whole thing and geek out over it, and I don't know if I'm going to include it all in this video, but we'll see what happens. Here we go. Again, you got the choir, piano. When I first heard this, I thought it was going to be a slow song. Nope. But it's and now this part is very melodic also. Bunch of, again, bit of harmony. The fact that they use the big choir, not the choir, the big voices, the huge amount of people just on the word marches, but they make it sound huge marches, and the words are time marches on and on and on, flies eternally without us all. And I'm just like, oh God, it's like, that's right, I'm just here for a second, and it just doesn't, there's nothing we can do, time just, oh God. But the payoff is huge, it's a big chorus, and even those when he hits those high notes, there's even a high harmony on top of that one. It's crazy. I'm going to listen to the rest of it now.
Times of peace, times of fight, constant movement is all. Can't stop the fall, not until we die. We long for more eternity, and maybe there's another life. This one is sure, no matter how you try.
Just right here. Awesome. And now solos. Oh man. Hear that harmony lead guitar part, and then bass starts going bum 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 bum. But this to do a melodic harmony guitar solo there when they are obviously capable of so much more. Again, the restraint that they show in just not trying to show off all the time is so exceptional. Halftime. Bridge. Hear the harmony. And again, when I went and saw them in concert, you can imagine songs like this when they turn it to the crowd. Can you imagine? They just say, time! And we all go, March is time! March! Like everyone, it was awesome. You stand in a room with hundreds of guys who are yelling as loud as they can, March is... Like we are those people now. The thousands of people on the recording, now it's the crowd, and we know all of it. There's nothing like it. A little bit. Oh God, I'm sorry. I knew I was going to geek out about this really hard, but I know it's very aggressive and it's fast. But I mean, that's a great song. Whether it doesn't have to be like you could make a different beat, you could do it the rhythmic pattern, you could record this in an entirely different way, but it's still a great song. The chords and the melody and the lyrics, it's a good song. The fact that these people were, God, they're so young to come up with all those musical bits, the half times, I mean, that's world-class songwriting before you're in your mid-20s, and a mastery of your instrument, all of them. And I cranked this stuff out, man. Part 1 came out the year before. Part 2 came out right after that. Yeah. Anyway, that's the March of Time. I love that song. Real quick, I'm just going to touch on Dr. Steen, because Dr. Steen was the other hit they put out on this, the other single. But I just want to show you, it's like another song they did that is not, you know, they did break it up a little bit. It's just I kind of respond to the other kinds of songs more so than this one. But here you go. This one's just for fun, pretty much. But it's just about Dr. Steen, about Dr. Frankenstein. That's what it is. It's kind of a twist on it, but it's just a silly, fun song. Just so you can hear that they have a couple songs that are straight ahead beats, like I Want Out and We Got the Right. That's very catchy. Like that melody and those chords. It's almost a pop song.
Since we're nice, so we don't know what's so close. Now it seems sorry.
Actually, you might like this a lot more than the other song. Catchy. Here we go.
Dr. Steve was fighting creatures, lets them run into the night. They become great rock musicians in the time. So time is running.
So there you go. That's kind of actually you might all like that song more than I do. I don't hate it. It doesn't do much for me. I guess it's not epic. I like the epicness of a lot of these songs. But there's an organ solo, so I might as well show you that there's a keyboard solo on display on this record also. Why not?
One night he found himself, put his brother on a shelf.
This is harmony real quick. This kid was 20. You know the control you gotta have in your voice to be able to do that? Oh. The only other thing I'll show you about this song is the very end. They did, like a lot of people have done this since A Day in the Life by the Beatles, but they did the last note from the Day in the Life. I didn't know it. I had heard A Day in the Life, but I wasn't real familiar with it yet to understand that the note at the end. Like I'd heard the song, "How about the news today, oh boy," you know, but I didn't recognize this bit until later in life. But this is one of the first instances that I was aware of where somebody, and a lot of people have done it, have taken that last note from A Day in the Life. Here we go. Like, that's obviously A Day in the Life. What's weird is that when this was made, A Day in the Life was only 16 years old. This record is 32 years old now. Messes with my head. But again, there's Dr. Steen. It's kind of more a pop song. I just wanted to show you they do more than just like the aggressive epic songs. I like the aggressive epic songs. So now we're gonna do the last song on the record, and this song is ridiculous. So I don't know if you're familiar with this kind of music. It's not progressive rock, but there are some bands that have long songs, like with a lot of parts. Like, so this is a song, The Keeper of the Seven Keys. This song is called The Keeper of the Seven Keys, and it's the last song on The Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2. On the first one, Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 1, there was a song called Halloween. That's just a song about Halloween, but it's 13 minutes long with all these little parts. It's awesome. And The Keeper of the Seven Keys is the same thing. It's a 13-minute song that tells a story, an epic fantasy adventure with characters and the whole deal. And it's just, it's a fantasy novel shoved into 13 minutes of music with some of the best musicianship and songwriting all came out of this 24-year-old's head. So I'm going to point over here where you can skip to. When this song is over, you can skip right here if you don't want to hear this. But I'm going to play it because I'm doing The Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2. This is the song, The Keeper of the Seven Keys. This is it. Probably better off you just go listen to it on somewhere where the quality is better than this. But here we go. The Keeper of the Seven Keys.
Make the people hold each other's hands and fill their hearts with truth. You made
And the strings.
of your mind so due
Harmony.
as divine. Put on your armor, revved up to fight. Hold on.
And again, I'm looking at the album cover. You know, it's Dungeons and Dragons, Wizards and Warriors.
You hear the whispering in the crowds of the trees. You're running around, but your life's gonna queen. We know the risks, misguiding your path. You can throw the cards, we might take it that ride.
There you go.
Watch out for the seas, alright, bring and sing. Oh,
And again, if you read along with the words, it's a story, right?
our only hope's your victory. Can Satan won't let us be. Our only hope's your victory. Can Satan won't let us be.
Now here's the chorus. You tell me this is not a big sing-along chorus.
You're the keeper of the seven keys. The lock of the seven seas. And the seal of visions set before him I'm the
Chords are all over the place too.
rescue mankind of the world we are in.
Choir. What a chorus. That's a great chorus. That part.
Guided by spells from the ocean's head.
The drummer's just a monster, man. Drummers, he's crazy.
Stay well on your way and follow the sign.
By the way, right there he says follow the sign, which is the last track on Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 1 is Follow the Sign. And there, it actually says in that song, Follow the Sign, you're the Keeper of the Seven Keys, which is a tie-in to this song from the next record. Yeah, I know. Rhythm change.
The seven seas are far away, placed in the valley of dusty and sway. The seven seas are far away, placed in the valley of dusty and sway.
That melody's all over. Da, 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 da.
You're the keeper of the seven keys, the lock of the seven seas, and the seal of riches set before him.
It's a very sing-alongable anthemic chorus. It's awesome. Alright, you've been warned. It's gonna get weird now.
Throw the first key into the sea of hate.
Again, it's so melodic. Like all the notes are intentional, you know? The bass. I've heard this a lot. go. More narration. Is that a bass? Rhythms. Harmony. Let's go, Phil. It's awesome. Alright, here's another part that doesn't make sense.
Disease, my friend, for this whole world to be devil's hand. Disease, my friend, for the key or you may die. Disease, my friend, for this whole world to be devil's hand. Disease, my friend, for the key or you may die.
What the hell? If you hear this about 20 times and you wrap your head around the arrangement, it's awesome. Otherwise, it might just sound like a mess. But now we're doing this. Again, it's a lot of diversity in just this song. It's more of a blues solo, you know, like a jazz guitar setting. Now they got the guitar part.
With his high iron voice causing sickness, he's playing you on the line. Man, who do you just become? I see my wits and stars.
Harmony. I mean, it's just, who, how do you come up with that? Keyboards, the organ. And that was it. And again, they're not being blurry. So great. Bass. Great melody here for the solo, right here. So good. Now harmony. such a great melody. Those are the chords from the very beginning of the song.
An earthquake, squirting fire, bursting ground. Satan screaming, and earth swallowing him away. You're the keeper of the seven keys. You locked up.
Now these words are different. It's like past tense.
And the seal of his hands can now rest in peace. And now
Like our tale's told now.
disease and mankind live on. You free God. Yes, the child is dead. It's gone on the
Listen to this note, the lung capacity.
to
Take note. Now again, try to remember, I was like a 15-year-old kid when that came, 14, 15-year-old kid when that came in my life. So a little boy who loved Dungeons and Dragons and music in the Midwest, and this is what you get. It's awesome. Yeah, this was again the second album I've ever held. You know how many times I've held this? And it was so. I was so unprepared for it. I didn't know it was going to be. I didn't know what power metal was. I didn't know it was going to be like that. I just expected a record like a lot of the other ones I liked at the time, and I was like, "What is this?" You know, it wasn't groundbreaking. They weren't the first band to do it, but they were one of the best, and one of the first to do it on this scale. Like Iron Maiden was before them, but Iron Maiden is not as epic and as melodic as Halloween is. They're in similar areas, but not quite the same. But similar things, similar qualities for sure. But the songwriting here is more just positive, more melodic, and I love it. So I know this is going to be a ridiculously long video, and I don't even want to be doing this because I know it's going to take forever to put this together, and no one's going to care. But once I got a man to do this record, I wanted to because it's one of the greatest records ever, especially one of the first of its kind. And it brought me to Chicago with my little brother at a show that's one of the best shows I've ever seen. And they were awesome. It wasn't just they were there and they were playing the songs. I mean, they were good. It was great. So that's Halloween. They have these are the records to get. Keep It 7 Keys Part 1 and 2. They had, I'll show you real quick. They had one before that called The Walls of Jericho, but this is before they had that singer. And this is, I tried a few years ago to re-listen to this, and I couldn't get into it. I still don't like it. And they made two more with that singer, but it just wasn't the same. You know, like I said, one of the two guitarists and one of the main songwriters, the guy that wrote The March of Time and I Want Out, he left and formed Gamma Ray. Like 2 years later, after that, Keep It 7 Keys Part 2, Gamma Ray is that guy's band. He left and formed his own band, Gamma Ray, and they put out records, and that's what he did. So this is kind of close to Halloween, but not quite the same either, but kind of close. So really, it's just have these two records. These are the ones that sound like Halloween, and then, you know, these come close, and then the singer left, and then they got a different singer, and they made all these records with a different singer, and I don't want to say this because I respect the different singer, and this is a double album. Like, they did Keep Her the 7 Keys, The Legacy, but it just wasn't the same. But there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11 records. One of them is a double album, and of all these things I'm holding, I like 23 songs. it's just not, it doesn't do it for me. But I bought it all and I went and saw them. And that's all. That's Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2. I can't imagine I'm going to turn anybody on to that, but I love it. And this is one of the records that was like with me my whole life. Like, again, the second CD I ever owned. By the way, this is the one with like, this is the remastered version. There's the Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 1 and 2. They remastered a few years ago. So this is the one I held my whole life. This is the remaster. And they have that with Part 1 also, which I don't think I got out, but you'll have to trust me, they have it. Is it here somewhere? You don't care. What difference does it make? Yeah, but the remaster has like different bonus tracks and different mixes and stuff like that. But all right, there you go. Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2 by Helloween. If anybody watched all this, I'd be stunned. But there you go. This is why I'm going to stop doing these deep dives, because they just are ridiculous. I can't just say, this is great, listen to it. I just have to sit here and absorb it. And this is not a joke. It is, can you see what time it is? It is 6:14. Did not mean to do that. That was scary. Yeah, can you see that? It is 6:14 in the morning. 6:14 a.m. 6:15. And this is what I'm doing. So, I'm going to go now. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of this. And if you need anything, let me know. And hopefully you didn't lose that respect for me, because I know this is a little more heavy than you think. But I don't get much heavier than this. I really don't. I've tried other things to get into, bands that are more aggressive and serve this, but I can't. These songs make me feel. They lift me up. They give me something to sing along to. They make me feel like a kid. There's nothing like it. All right. Thanks for watching. Take care. And yeah, that was weird, right? All right, remember, life's too short to cry, long enough to try. And just do it your own way. All right, thanks for watching. I'm getting really punchy and weird now because the sun's about to come up. That's just weird. There you go. Keeper of the Seven Keys, Part 2 by Helloween. Thanks for watching.